everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today we're going to be answering the question, can my mom be trusted? So if you are unfamiliar with this series or new to my channel, I have a whole series dedicated to answering the question, can they be trusted to recommend me books? So far we have done this with the Libby app. Video can be found here in the cards and in the description box. And also, we have asked the question, can my sisters be trusted? So, there were some mixed results in those videos, so go check them out if you have not seen them before. Today we're going to be asking, can my mom be trusted? So let's go see what she has in store for me. Hi, Mom!
Hey.
Okay, so now I'm at my mom's house. This is my lovely mother.
Hi.
So do you want to just go through the books and tell the camera why you recommended them to me?
Okay. So the first one is The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. And this story is kind of told from like the devil's point of view, and it's really an interesting read.
Very interesting.
Different. So you have to kind of really pay attention as you're following along with that one. The next one is The Chase by Clive Cussler. And I like this one because it's historical, and it has a lot of intrigue and mystery to it. And you have to figure out what the Pinkerton agent is going to do next. I recommended Jayhawk, Dorothy Keddington, just because it's an easier read. This one is also a mystery, and you don't find out what's going on until the very end of the story.
Oh, I like those.
So I just thought 3 different levels of difficulty and intenseness. So
Very good.
that's why I chose them.
Basically, my parents own every single Clive Cussler book to exist. Penny. Penny's sad. And I've mentioned this in videos before, but me and my mom and mystery is like kind of our thing. So
For sure.
these are fitting, and I'm excited to read them.
Good, I hope you enjoy them.
Okay, so like she said, the first book is The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. I actually finished this like last week, but things have been so crazy that I did not film it and I have not talked about it yet. So here we are. This book is about basically 2 of Satan's like demons, lackeys, minions, whatever you want to call them, conversing between each other. One is an uncle and the other is a nephew, and the uncle is giving advice to the nephew on how he can basically get people to go to hell instead of heaven. I really enjoyed this book. I thought there were some really awesome quotes in here, and what really stood out to me was basically that this more experienced demon, I guess you could say, is telling the less experienced one that the way that they get people away from the gospel and away from God is by doing it very subtly and very slowly. And so that's something that I really it just really stood out to me. In fact, this specific quote really stood out to me, and it says, "Indeed, the safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope, soft underfoot, without sudden turnings, without milestones, without signposts." So I really liked that. It really stood out to me. Basically, I think that this is an awesome book. Even if you're not Christian, I think that you could still get something out of it and still find some interesting ideas. So definitely giving this one a 5 out of 5 stars, and I'm excited to read more C.S. Lewis in my life because I haven't really read too much. He also wrote Narnia, and I think I I think I read some of them when I was younger, but I don't really remember, so it could be an interesting experiment. So, the next book is The Chase by Clive Cussler. This is what the dust jacket looks like. I just took this off so that I could read it easier. I am a little over halfway through with this. That's upside down, so it's like this. A little over halfway through, and I am enjoying it so far. It's a little cheesy, and definitely the more like romance aspects of it are really making me roll my eyes because they're just kind of unrealistic, and it's kind of like just annoying. But other than that, I'm really enjoying it. This book, we are following a detective named Isaac Bell who is trying to catch this guy who they call the something bandit, butcher bandit? That's what it is, the butcher bandit. This is set in 1909, by the way. And they're trying to find this bandit who is going around to different mining towns in the West and going into banks and robbing them and killing everybody in them. So that's what you're following, and you're trying to figure out, first of all, who the bandit is, because he has really good disguises and he gets away and he hasn't been caught, and then how they're going to catch him. So yeah, at this point in the story, they know who the bandit is, and they're just trying to catch him, and there have been some little tussles, some little run-ins, and they haven't gotten him yet, but I'm interested to see how it ends, because in the very beginning of the book, there's like a little excerpt from 1950, and they're pulling a train out of this lake in 1950. And so I'm really interested to see how that ties back in, because that's something that Clive Cussler is, it's not Cussler, it's Cussler, but I always want to say Cussler. That's not it. Clive Cussler is very famous for having like a throwback to something in history. You don't know how it's going to tie in, and then it doesn't tie in until the very end, and that's like something that's in all of his books. I haven't read any, but my parents have read like all of them, so that's how I know that. And one that you might be familiar with, if you've seen the movie Sahara with Matthew McConaughey and Penelope Cruz, Rainn Wilson is also in it too, actually. And that one guy, what's his name? I don't remember. Anyway, that movie, Sahara, is based on one of Clive Cussler's books. So, there's a fun fact for you. Anyway, I'm going to keep reading this, and I'll check in with you when I finish it. I just finished The Chase by Clive Cussler, and I probably am going to give this like a 4, maybe like a 3.75, because when I think about the other 4s that I've given, it's not like a favorite, and I probably won't think about it again necessarily, but it was well written. So somewhere between a 3.75 and a 4, so still really good, don't get me wrong. I did enjoy this book. I thought the pacing was a little bit slow, but I was excited to be able to finish it. I was excited to like know what was going to happen in it. So one thing that I did enjoy about this book is that it's set in the West of the United States, which is where I live. I live in Idaho. So part of this book is in Idaho, and there's like references to a few cities that are like pretty near where I live actually, and places in Utah that I've been to, and California and stuff. So I'm pretty familiar with the geography, and because I grew up in rural Idaho, I had to take Idaho history, so I know a lot about like what the West was like during that time of the early 1900s, just because I've had to do a lot of that history in my schooling and stuff. And because it's pretty interesting, and I've been around to a few different like ghost towns and things in Idaho and Montana, and been able to see things that were from this time. So that was something that like gave me a connection, so I could picture all these things really well, just because I've had that personal experience. So that was cool. I do enjoy this. So far, I think that my mom can definitely be trusted. I have enjoyed reading the books. Both books so far. The next book that I'll be reading is Jayhawk by Dorothy Keddington. My mom said she picked this one because it's really easy to read, and this, Larry, is only 244 pages. So my mom said it's like really not hard to follow at all. So I feel like I'll probably be able to get through this one pretty quickly. But right now it is a beautiful day, the warmest day we've had all year long. So we're gonna go outside, and I will get to this later. Alright, I have updates. So here's the update. I am DNFing Jayhawk. I'm sorry, Mom. My mom picked this book because it was easy to read. But unfortunately for me, this was too easy. It was too simple, and I couldn't get into it because I already felt like I knew everything that was going to happen, and I wasn't invested enough at all. And so honestly, I only got like 5 chapters in, but it was just too much of too little for me to want to read all of it. So I'm sorry, Mom, but this is a DNF, and yikes. But if we are answering the question, the overall question, can my mom be trusted? I think yes, because this was a complete 5-star for me. And even though I gave this 3.75, which is a lower rating, I still enjoyed reading it. I still wanted to know what happened. Yeah, there was things in here that bothered me. The language towards women and the descriptions of women were kind of a big eye roll for me, personally. You know, there's the genre of like women's fiction. This is men's fiction, for sure. You think that's funny? Men would enjoy reading this, just as a generalization. I'm not saying all men. It's more of a manly man's type of book, and I think as a woman, I can enjoy it still. Yeah, and there was a lot of like historical exposition. Like sometimes you would just be completely taken out of the story, and it's like, here's 5 paragraphs about the history of the time. And I think that can be interesting, but I think it also just kind of drew me out of the story. So overall, I mean, I know my mom's taste, and I don't know that our taste super aligns when it comes to books necessarily. I think it does sometimes. Like with this, it aligned 100%. Both of us really loved this book. Enjoyed it. This was too much for me. So, I know that my mom and I's taste align in a lot of things, and especially when it comes to movies and TV shows, our tastes align more. And I would be interested to see what other recommendations she has for me. And she did have me borrow a few other books that she just was like, oh, I like this one, you should read this eventually at some point too. So I will read those eventually, and we'll see, you know, how much I like them. Goodness. Or if I don't. But overall, I would say yes, my mom can be trusted, but I don't know that our taste in reading is the same when it comes to every single genre. Let's say that. Goodness. When it comes to certain genres, we're good. Other genres, I think we differ a little bit, but that's okay because everyone's different. So, if you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, comment, and tell me if you've read any of these books or if you have similar reading tastes to your mom. And I will see you in my next one. Bye!